What up, though, fam? What up, though? Back in the building. Another Monday night. I do this every Monday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's a passion for me, and I love to be here. I love to perform for the audience. I'm glad you are here. I got a hot one for tonight. It's all about power shifts. That's what I like to talk about. Most people watch headlines. I watch transitions. When a centralized figure of power weakens, disappears, or shifts positions, the real story isn't the personality. It's the system around them. Tonight, we're looking at three very different environments, but yet very powerful. Three powerful people. A state leader under pressure, a cartel network facing structural disruption, a religious authority whose influence extends beyond borders. And that guy been around for a very long time. He was like 80-something years old, and they still took him out with no problem. Different arenas. Same underlying question. What happens to a power when the center moves? Because power rarely collapses. It reorganizes. That's what I'll be looking at. Power rarely collapses. It only reorganizes. And the reorganization tells you more about the future than the headline ever will. Before we move on, if you follow power the way I follow power, this is the type of conversation we're going to keep having here. No reaction, no outrage, no structure. Well, plenty of structure. Sorry about that. So if you're here for patterns, stay with me, subscribe, tap in, because we're building perspective, not noise. Now, let's shift environments. We all seen this on the news right here, and this was a guy that was a head of state. Maduro, Venezuela. This was big news, and they was blowing up a lot of those ships down there. They're supposed to be transporting drugs. But they went down there and got this guy. And allegedly or reportedly, they called him before they went and got him. But what about the aftermath? What about that? Somebody got to take over. Or is the U.S. going to put their own people down there? That's what I study. The country didn't collapse. The government didn't collapse. They just reorganized. And we're going to look at some updates on Maduro. I got a news reports I'm going to look at. So there's always a shadow network working in the background. And I think those are the real power players, in my opinion. They didn't go in there and tear down the country. They definitely didn't do that. They went over there and lit up a few things, just to light it up. They used some high technology stuff to get past their defenses. They try to react afterwards and all that type stuff, some people over there that backdoored the guy and all that. You know how all that go. Somebody else always wants your throne. That's for sure. When power shifts, it doesn't disappear, it reorganizes. Over the past cycle, we've seen three significant power disruptions in Nicolas Maduro, is under intensified international legal escalation. And he got his buddies and things of that nature. He's supposed to be tied in with those cartel guys himself. But a lot of people think this is about oil. When the head of state becomes legally refrained by external powers, they move you out the way and they put their own people in there. Let's check out this report. I saw something interesting in what people think this is all about. 3 heads of state move from power. Maduro was one of them. President of a country who's supposed to be protected. They took him down from his own place. But let me share my screen, family. Let me share my screen. And let's see who this is coming from. Vice News. Let's see what they're talking about, family.
You have the power, not IT.
Get that banging track in the background. Video playing later on. Shouts out to people on Twitch.
The Energy Secretary just arrived with the interim president, and they're here to talk about this oil. Even though
There we go. Now we got
Caracas and took Maduro, we're now best friends.
This is
because
an
of oil
update.
and resources. Now, for a look inside Venezuela after Maduro's abduction, please enjoy this very special episode of Shane Smith Has Questions, shot during the U.S. Energy
This is the
Secretary's
aftermath.
unprecidented
This is the transition.
Caracas.
This is what I've
The
been looking
United
at.
States is in your driver's seat and using, as the secretary said to me on the side after this talk, you know, we've got leverage and we'll use it.
And we got speed. You ready for this?
We're just going to play a little clip of
There we
this.
go. All right. We just had a press conference here in Caracas, Venezuela, with the Secretary of Energy, who we flew down with from the States. He met with the acting president.
Oh, the acting president. Oh, that was nice. See?
If you want to reduce your workload as a photographer, there's no reason why you
See, now we go. There was a transition right there. While your boy's sitting in jail, probably for the rest of his life.
Hi, Shane Smith, Vice News, here at the Presidential Palace in Caracas, Venezuela, for the first high-level talks between America
So
and
was it a
Venezuela since
female?
2019, and definitely since Maduro was taken by the American government. So we have the acting president here with the Secretary of Energy from the United States talking about how we stabilize the country. We're going in now. Secretary of Energy, President of Venezuela are meeting with all the ministers to talk about what the path forward is.
That's what we want to see. It's all about the transition.
We had a press conference in this room, and I met a very nice person, Maria de Los Angeles Grataro.
Yes.
One thing that we haven't gotten is what the hell's going on here in Caracas, and what do people think when American troops came and took Maduro out? What's going on in the streets? What happened before? What happened after? So we decided to have a very special podcast of Shane Smith Has Questions here in Caracas right after a press conference. So thank you so much for taking time.
No,
Talk-
thanks to you for the invitation.
Okay, so let's get to it. A lot of people talking about a lot of things. What I find a little bit crazy
Okay.
is you have Americans come in helicopters, kill some people, take the leader of the country, and everyone now is, okay, so let's talk about oil and let's talk about this. And okay, what happened?
Well, what I could tell you about people, like regular citizens, regular Venezuelans, is that before, during these years we have been living through a really complicated economical situation.
Right.
So when that happened, I think that, and when you talk to people in the streets, they say like, well, at least something happened, and this is like the opportunity that we have so the economy gets better. But they don't really see like what's behind.
Yeah, right.
Because Venezuelans, they just have to survive. They just
Yeah,
need
you
to...
hoping and dreaming? Hold on. Y'all thought the economy was going to get better when they took this guy out? I don't think so. It's not too much. Nothing is going to change over there. No, it's just who the next puppet in line. Let's go.
Try to get their food, and just as you said, like
Surviving.
right after the
We all
the
gotta do
attack of
that.
the United States, like 3 days later, people had to go back to their jobs because that's what they have to do.
Right.
So Venezuelans, there's like a group, or there's like a part that, of course, thinks about like, okay, now Maduro is not here, so what's next? But
Right.
the question about what's next is like the government or the regime is the same,
They got,
because you still see in there like the
female
same political
president over
figures that
there.
have been in
Interim.
there during the last years. Like we have Teti Rodriguez, we have Jorge Diosdado, who is the president of the National Assembly.
So for people who don't know, the people who were part of the same party and the same ruling regime as Maduro are still in power.
Yes.
Yeah, so that, like, for Venezuelans,
not?
there hasn't been any significant change because they still see their faces in there. So when you talk to people in the streets and you ask them, like, do you think that there's that something has changed? They say yes, but no, because
The only thing
now
changed
there's
was-
not a president in here. Like Maduro is not here.
It's the face
but
of the president.
again,
Everything else still
if
in
you
place.
ask them, do you feel that you have more freedom? It's not like that. They say like, yes, I feel that I'm more free now and that I can speak freely. But then you ask them, like, can you speak on camera? And they say, no, because I'm afraid.
Yeah.
All right, what you got to be? You're the president. You know, president gives speeches and all of that stuff. By you being this interim president, you got to say something to the public. You got to do interviews. That's part of the job. But if you notice that woman say, yeah, it was a transition, but life's still the same. Only thing changed was the face of the president. Everybody else is still in power. So what changed when they took this guy out? That's the question. But this is another situation where a head of state and a person that has a lot of power can get switched out. And somebody else will be sitting on that throne. Somebody always waiting to sit on your throne. And when you get in these type of positions, you come over a lot of plugs and a lot of connections and those type of things. And when you get jammed up like this, you can't pull that stuff out your pocket. You can't call your homies to get you out of this. All the people you helped out. And look what happened. They took the wife too. So who's gonna be the next power to do the same thing he was doing? Whatever he was doing. The regime doesn't collapse instantly, it hardens or adapts. State power under pressure becomes defensive and centralized. A lot of the same people in the same positions. Sanctions and designations don't remove power immediately. No, they still, they have other partners, allies. This world is split up in so many different ways. External pressure, internal consolidation, strategic repositioning. It's chess, not checkers. And you see what happened, but I still think that the real people that got the power in this world, they don't care. They tell Trump what to do. They tell him what to do. The hidden powers, the shadowy networks, the people that move the money around. They get that oil from down there, that's for sure. But this is not a geopolitical channel. It's all about the transition. It's a shadow empire. That's Maduro. That's one of the people they removed from that position. And he had a whole army with him too. That's allegedly. A couple of them tried to fight back. They fired on, the U.S. and all that stuff. Because in tight centralized governments, power doesn't just sit in an office. That's the fact. Let's start with the state model. When a national leader starts talking pressure, people argue politics. That's surface. That's on the surface. That's on the surface. What I look at is this. Who actually holds the weight when the leader isn't in the room? Is the system built around one voice, or is it layered? Because in tight centralized governments, power doesn't just sit in an office. It runs through generals. It runs through money channels, through loyalty networks. And that's what I'm saying about this guy right here. Where's your network at? Where's your loyalty at? You mean to tell me you are president of a country and all these allies you're supposed to have, and you can't get out of there? They can't get you out of there? It runs through loyalty and networks. So if the top weakens, something underneath shifts first. That's a powerful line right there. So if the top weakens, something underneath shifts first. Y'all need to remember that right there. This is GPTV1 Uncut. Go live every Monday night. Live stream right here on Twitch. Shouts out to Twitch, to the people that follow on Twitch, for sure. Definitely. Make sure y'all catch Open Files on Thursday. That's when I debut a GPTV1 original. I do that every Thursday on Twitch and IG. I'll be live on IG this Wednesday and Thursday. So y'all can catch me on Twitch and IG. It won't be on YouTube. It'll be only on Twitch and IG. You can go to the social media pages and follow the social media. I make a lot of posts over there. I got a regular schedule going on. You know, GPTV1 is a full ecosystem now. And we using all the social media for our distribution. So if the top weakens, something underneath shifts first. That's a true statement. Security, cash flow, that's always the question. That's what I always say. The shadowy networks, that's who pulling the strings. Narrative control. They say whoever control the airways, control the mind. Security, cash flow. You got all that stuff, you got a lot of power. The first shift tells you how stable the system really was. Let's break that down. Money moves. Cash dance. This how it be when it's legally reframed by external powers like the U.S. So that's one of the guys, one of the heads of states that they got power. They got removed. Now somebody else sitting on your throne. That's the stuff I'll be looking at. Who actually holds the weight when the leader isn't in the room? Y'all think about that. Really. Leave a comment, leave a chat. Feel a little generous, hit me on the super chat. The next guy was this guy, there's a lot of news about this guy. This guy had a lot of power. Like the military pulled up on him. He started lighting them up. Literally, this guy had a lot of power. And just think, they serving the whole world. But what happens after they take him down? The state model is layered. It has uniforms, budgets, institutions. Cartels are different. They look centralized from the outside, one name at the top. But underneath, it's a network. Sales, alliances, personal loyalties. And they say this guy was gangster with it. Like, he was body, as they say, as Master P said. They say this guy was body about it. Sales, alliances, personal loyalties, revenue corridors. That's the part what I say about all this cartel stuff. Like, they be showing all these drug busters and all that. And it be money and weapons involved in those raids. They rarely catch the doggone money because you gotta remember the money gotta get back over there in some type of way. Revenue corridors. So when a cartel leader exists, it's not just who's next. It's which faction moves first. The transition. Always a transition. It don't fold, it reorganizes, it adapts. It's which faction moves first. So it'd be some internal fighting and all of that. But before we get to the rest of that, let's check on some updates with El Mencho. Let's check out the aftermath of that. I like doing this. Listen to the replay, click that subscribe button. Click that like button. Share this live stream, GPTV1 Uncut. Let me share my screen, family. Let's get an update on the aftermath of El Mencho. And it's been lighting it up, you know. I got an episode all out on it myself, so go to the channel and check that out. Let's check out the aftermath.
Welcome back. Some travel advisories remain in effect following a wave of violence in Mexico, triggered by the death of one of the country's most wanted cartel leaders. El Mencho was the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. He was killed in a shootout with the Mexican military Sunday. His death sparked widespread violence across 20 Mexican states, leading to more than 70 deaths. Tourists were left stranded as departing flights from Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta were canceled. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel, known as CJNG for its Spanish acronym, has quickly become one of Mexico's largest. U.S. officials say it's one of the most powerful.
You cannot tell me this is not power. This is power. It's a different type of power, but it's power.
Powerful drug trafficking organizations in the region moving meth, cocaine, heroin, and fentanyl into the U.S. and other countries. Here to speak with us about what comes next following this wave of violence is Elliot Young, a professor at Lewis and Clark College. One of his areas of expertise is gangs and cartels. Thanks for joining us, Professor Young.
Sure. Happy to be here.
Help us understand the scope of this cartel's power and influence in Mexico.
So the CJNG is a cartel that emerged around 2010. It's a split off from another major cartel, the Sinaloa cartel. And right now it is one of the top cartels in the country, and it's known for its use of extreme violence and brutality. It is heavily armed. They have tanks, they have rocket launchers, and they wear full military gear. So they're essentially...
They get so much money, they hire their own little armies and mercenaries and all of that. Those guys be trained too. You know, these ain't like little punks coming off the street, gang bangers. Like, these guys be military type people.
Another military within Mexico that oftentimes outpowers and overpowers the Mexican government.
What did I just say? Did I just say that?
Look at the cartel and the government. Have these cartels infiltrated the government? Are they members of the government, or have they paid off the government? What's the relationship between the cartels and the Mexican government?
So there's a long history of corruption in the Mexican government, and this will happen at the local level with police officers, where essentially they give the option of what they call plata or plomo, silver or lead. So you take the money as a bribe, or we will shoot and kill you. And most rational people will choose the money rather than having them and their families be killed. But the corruption doesn't just exist at the local level. It goes up to the judiciary. At one point, the drug czar in Mexico, sitting in the equivalent of the White House in Mexico, it was later found was working directly with the cartels. So you see that kind of corruption from the very lowest levels of government all the way up to the top, which makes it very hard to effectively fight drug trafficking in Mexico.
Let's talk about this cartel's influence in the U.S. What can you tell us about that?
So the CJNG, like many of the major cartels, are transnational organizations. They have members in many Latin American countries. They also have people in the United States who they use to traffic the drugs into the United States.
Well, they say most of the people, a lot of people think it's those Mexicans bringing it over here. Yeah, there's a lot of them that do that, but they think it's more Americans actually going over there and bringing that stuff back over here. But the Mexican people paying them to do it, though.
Some people have argued there exists in all 50 states. I don't know if that's true or not, but they do have a presence in the United States.
In the
No
nexus,
doubt.
it seems, the cartel's main book of business is the drugs, and in the U.S. you have the demand. Is that the connection?
Yeah, I mean, I think, unfortunately, when people hear about the kind of violence and drug trafficking in Mexico, they tend to focus on Mexico as the problem. Clearly, there is a problem in Mexico, but if we look at the source of that problem, the source of the problem is the demand coming from the United States of drug addiction in this country. And that is something I think that is probably a more important.
With 3-6 Mafia say, I want to get high. Well, they probably didn't quite say it like that. But anyway, let's go.
Important way to try to address this problem is the source of the problem, which is drug addiction, which is, in my mind, a public health issue.
Getting buzzed up.
It's been confirmed that the U.S. provided intelligence that helped Mexican authorities track El Mencho and ultimately kill him. Do you think this collaboration between the U.S. and Mexican government is good or bad for addressing the drug trafficking and the cartel violence?
Well, we have to try to understand what are the motives of the U.S. government. Clearly, there is some effort to try to interdict drug traffickers coming from Latin America. But at the same time, a few months ago, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, pardoned former president of Honduras, Juan Orlando Hernandez, who was convicted of drug trafficking. And so if we are trying to stop drug traffickers, why is the president pardoning a major drug trafficker? A few years ago in 2020, there was an arrest of a former defense minister from Mexico in Los Angeles. He was arrested on charges of drug trafficking.
All right, let's go. I wanted to play a clip of that. And this is another powerful guy. It may be a different type of power than somebody like Maduro. In fact, Maduro be somebody like working for this guy right here. Like he'll be working, Maduro will be working for this guy. This guy, El Mencho. But there was another powerful guy removed. The power don't collapse, it adapts. It reorganizes. Facts. Leadership removal creates internal succession contests. Different people feel like they should be the leader, especially if they were sitting on the side of the guy or close by the guy. These things happen unexpected. So you're going to have people vying for the top spot. Violence often increases after decapitation. Yeah, there was a lot of violence going on with that. Loyalty shifts from person to faction. Yeah, it's a reorganization going to happen when it comes to that. When you take the head off, it's like the body falls. Non-state power structures don't transition cleanly. They fracture before they stabilize. There's going to be some killings within their own crew. The pattern, leader removed, network, competition, temporary instability. Then you know what? It'll be a new thing coming through. This model is chaotic, but predictable. Equilibrium. And this guy right here, like, all this stuff can affect how we live over here. It just transitions to the next person with the same people moving the money around. They may focus on this guy and a few of his associates. And there's certain things that he can do, but it's still somebody tell him what to do. It ain't even no boss of a cartel. It's not a head of state. It's not a politician. Hell, he telling them what to do. He telling police captains what to do, commanders, politicians. But it's somebody that tells him what to do. And that's the people who control the money. They send you out and do all that. And they got to clean you up. They got to make you look good. They sell invisibility. That's what it's called. You pay attention to what I pay attention to? I'm always paying attention to the shadowy networks. Even when I was doing my little thing in the streets way back in the day, I always looked at the vertical, how money go vertical, kicking it upward. I was looking at this stuff way back then. Like, man, them cartels, back then it was the Colombians, you know, them Colombians and cartels. I was like, they got their own little armies and, you know, they be serious with it too. But they don't want to get extradited over here. That's for damn sure. When authority is concentrated for decades, transition becomes essential. I'll say that again. When authority is centralized for decades, like this when they say this started up in 2010, breaking off from the Sinaloa, another powerful guy. Powerful, man. I don't care how powerful you is, you can get taken down. That's for sure. And it'd be somebody sitting right there, ready to take your place. Facts. Leader removed, network competition, temporary instability, and new equilibrium. Trying to say that word. This model is chaotic but predictable. Always look at upward, vertical. All this stuff be fun and Danny, you know, a lot of people talking about 50 Cent and T.I. and all this stuff right here going on. Which is pretty much a fad thing with this 50 Cent and T.I. dissing each other. Trust me, it's going to be very short-lived. It's just a trend. This the real stuff right here. GPTV1 Uncut, no filters. You stepping in the building for the first time, click that like button. Click that subscribe button. Share this episode. Share this live stream. Do me a solid. Hit me up with something on the chat. For sure. The cartels are different. They look centralized from the outside. One name at the top. Just like this guy. Just like that. Which faction moves first? The Because unlike governments, networks don't transition cleanly. That's a fact. Unlike governments, networks don't transition cleanly. Another major boss, a guy like this, he tells presidents what to do. We wish we could have that type of power. Well, who's up next? Who's up next? I see a few people in the building. I'm glad to have y'all here. Do me a solid and click that like button so it can help the algorithm. I appreciate it. I do this every Monday, 9 p.m. Central Standing Time. Pay attention to the pattern. This is unfiltered. But the even bigger news is this guy, Khomeini. Man, they talking about this guy. You know, it's like a little, is this World War III going on right now? This country done attacked like 8, 9 different countries, 7, 8, 9 different countries. But this is definitely hogging up the media. And this was another powerful guy in that region over there and been in power for a long time. Been in power for a long time. And they went over there and took him out. There's 3 different type of motions, 3 different type of powers, but yet they were powerful. The transition. Let's check on see what's the update on that one, family. Hold on a second. Let me share my screen. I love it. I love doing this. I explore all levels, the street level, whatever. Let's get an update.
New strikes across Tehran tonight as the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran is expanding, systematically destroying Iran's military, blowing up its missiles, and killing
Live
its
on
leaders.
Twitch.
President Trump saying it could last 4 to 5 weeks.
We will easily prevail. We're already substantially ahead of our time projections, but whatever the time is, it's okay.
The Pentagon today announcing it's sending more troops and fighter jets to join the operation, which President Trump launched at 3:38 p.m. on Friday.
The president directed, and I quote, Operation Epic Fury is approved. No aborts.
Yeah, they've been
Good
talking
luck,
about this all day.
quote.
But the war is also spreading to new countries with new risks. In Saudi Arabia, drones targeting the U.S. embassy in the capital Riyadh, a fire breaking out there. A Saudi official telling NBC News there were no injuries. In Kuwait, 3 U.S. fighter jets were shot down and seen plummeting from the sky.
Right.
The Pentagon said it was friendly fire, that the jets were hit by Kuwaiti missile defense systems. The crews all ejected and survived. In this video, you can see a
training right
parachute
there.
on the ground and what appears to be an American pilot in the back of an SUV, looking healthy but rattled. As the Pentagon announced, at least 6 American service members have been killed. The Pentagon saying it now has total air superiority over Iran, allowing the U.S.
The
to
missiles,
hunt
boy.
down the missile launchers Iran is using to carry out attacks.
This is chess,
including
not
against
checkers.
Israel, where an Iranian missile made it through air defenses this morning. Prime Minister Netanyahu touring a town where 9 Israelis were killed by another Iranian strike. Iran is not just hitting Israel, but multiple Arab countries. Iranian fighter jets attacked
Iran.
Qatar, but were shot down, according to the Qatari military. In Bahrain, Iranian drones hitting residential high-rise buildings. In Kuwait, the international airport damaged by an Iranian drone strike. And tonight, Iran targeting Saudi Arabia with damage seen in these
Damn.
oil fields. The Washington Post reporting
Iran
over the
said,
past
"Get up
month,
with you."
Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has urged President Trump to attack Iran, according to 4 people
Oh,
familiar
what
with
your
the matter.
folks say?
And
Oh,
we've
they
learned
trying to send
the
us
U.S.
out?
and Israeli
Hold on.
strikes were launched on Saturday because intelligence showed
Wait a minute now. What you mean trying to send us out? Hold on. They wouldn't hit y'all up. Why don't y'all go do that? At least that's my opinion. Let's go.
Iran's supreme leader would be at a meeting of senior officials that morning, according to 2 sources briefed on the matter. In addition to Ayatollah Khamenei, the U.S. says 49
told you.
leaders from the Iranian regime have been killed. Iran has not confirmed all of the deaths.
We also projected 4 weeks to terminate the military leadership, and as you know, that was done in about an hour, so we're ahead of schedule there by a lot.
Oh, boy.
While inside Iran, officials say a girls' school was hit this weekend with dozens killed. The U.S. says it's investigating. There have been demonstrations supporting the Iranian regime, but also Iranians celebrating the death of the Ayatollah. His government deeply unpopular among many Iranians. All as President Trump laid out the objectives of the U.S. mission.
We're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis. Second, we're annihilating their navy. We've knocked out already 10 ships. They're at the bottom of the sea. Third, we're ensuring that the world's #1 sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon. And finally, we're ensuring that the Iranian regime cannot continue to arm, fund, and direct terrorist armies outside of their borders.
President Trump saying Iran walked away from negotiations, but a senior negotiator directly involved tells NBC News talks were making progress and were scheduled to resume. For now, no U.S.
All right, let's stop sharing that. What's next? Now here's where it shifts again. Cartels are network power. States are institutional power. But ideological authority, all three of them had it. All three of them had this. These guys, they got different powers, but they got power. This is a powerful guy over there in that type of regime. And we've been hearing about this guy forever, so we know who he is. But yet, they sent the missiles over there. He's no longer with us. When power is tied to belief, not just position, succession becomes legitimate. It's not only about control, it's about acceptance. That's true right there. I have to agree with that right there. I definitely agree with that. If the next figure isn't recognized as carrying the same weight, if the next figure isn't recognized as carrying the same weight, you don't just get instability. That's a fact. You get recalibration. That's what you get. So ultimately, you gotta just carry the same weight, just controlled by another person, inside the country and outside of it. If the next figure isn't recognized as carrying the same weight, you don't just get instability, you get recalibration inside the country and outside of it. But what happened when authority isn't just political? It's symbolic. Facts. It's facts. What happens when a long-standing ideological authority disappears? Supreme leadership blends religion and state. Succession mechanism exists, but legitimacy must be transferred. Regional actors watch for weakness. Definitely, I just said that about Maduro. If somebody wants your seat, and it could be a regional guy, centralized systems are stable until they aren't. When authority is concentrated for decades, transition becomes essential. Leaders exist. Institutional succession, legitimacy test, regional recalibration. 3 systems, 3 transition models: state under external legal pressure, criminal network under leadership decapitation, theocratic state under ideological succession. ideological, succession. Different mechanics, same principle. Power reorganizes, not emotionally, structurally. Different mechanics, same principles. Three different heads. The aftermath. Most people react to moments. Few observe transitions. That's why I come in at. The real story is never the event. It's the redistribution of influence that follows. Y'all follow me on that? Do y'all catch that? The real story isn't. No. The real story is never the event. It's the redistribution of influence that follows. Did y'all catch that one? Deep. It's really deep. Then ask a controlled question. In each of these systems, who benefits from the vacuum? And another thing about those Iranian folks, when they had those vacuums, that's where those terrorist groups like ISIS and all that stuff develop out of that. But ask the controlled question. In each of these systems, who benefits from the vacuum? That's a deep question, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? I'm approaching 1 million views. I'm almost there. For sure. Make sure y'all stay tuned to the end. I got a video I'm going to be debuting. A music video. Narrative audio, as I call it. And it's coming out on SoundCloud in a couple of weeks. For sure. Y'all make sure y'all stay to the end for that one. And this is where the power shifts again, ladies and gentlemen. Just think about it. What happens when they move these guys out of the way? I mean, what changes? Literally. Not much. Ain't no a lot of money going to start flowing through your bank account. Like that lady said, you still got to get up and go to work. Facts. This is GPTV1 Uncut. I do this every Monday, 9 p.m. Central Standing Time. You listening to the replay? Click that like button. This is very deep. I got more coming. For sure. In each of these systems, who benefits from the vacuum? Man. Insane. What else I got going on here? Stay tuned, family. I'm looking up some information here. Oh, okay. Maduro, he's sitting in jail right now. More than likely, he's gonna spend the rest of his life in there. Man, you sleeping in the palace. Next thing you know, you sleeping in a cell. At the end of the day, this isn't about personalities. It's about structure. Hold on, I'm getting some sound from somewhere else. Okay. Sorry, folks, I had something playing in the background. But anyway, let me get back to this. It's about structure. Maduro represents pressure on state power. El Mencho represents disruption inside a network. Iran represents secession inside ideology. 3 different systems, 3 different transition models, but the same underlying rule. When the center shifts, something underneath adjusts. Security, money, loyalty, narrative. Most people wait for the headline to tell them what happened. I watch what moves after, because that's where the future shows up first. In this kind of breakdown, if this kind of breakdown makes sense to you, if you rather understand patterns than react to noise, subscribe. We're not chasing headlines here. We're mapping how power reorganizes. Tap in. And without further ado, check this out.
So silent, heels hit the floor. Private doors open, I own the score. Whispers in hallways, they know my name. Kingpins bow down, I'm the flame. Passion in the safe, deals in the dark. Luxury tripping, I leave my mark. Unbothered, untamed, I never fold. Power in the shadows, I'm made of gold. Velvet empire, I run the night. Money moves quiet, I'm out of sight. Velvet empire, diamonds on ice. Walls of the shadows, I call the bright. Whispers in the dark, promises break. Every friend a stranger, every smile's a stake. Loyalty's a ghost in the corners of the night. Trust is currency, keep your secrets tight. Footsteps fade, but the echoes remain. Betrayal leaves marks deeper than pain. We move in silence, no one can see. Survival's a vow whispered between me